Kenya's embassy expressing worries about the nation's democratic future. The IEBC itself has reported facing budgetary constraints. The mass resignation of the IEBC commissioners, otherwise known as the Cherera Four, along with the end of term for the commission's chair, has thrown Kenya's democracy into uncertainty. Years after the 2022 elections, the reconstitution of the commission supposed to oversee by-elections remains in limbo. Its future is now playing out both in the corridors of justice and the political arena. It is a commission whose mandate is to ensure free and fair election, clear candidates seeking elective positions, and ensure each and every region has a representative that will be chosen through the democratic process of elections. However, as it stands, the Electoral Commission seems to exist by name, as its mandates have been held captive. The impeachment of DP Gachagua brought the nation to a rude awakening that its future could now be hanging by a thread.
We don't have a functioning IEBC today, as we speak right now. And why? Because the matter is in court. Remember, they were supposed to put in a panel that is supposed to elect or go through the selection panel of IEBC commissioners. So, assuming anything were to happen, God forbid, to the president today, and you don't have a deputy president, then the country is taken into the third arm, which is Parliament, the Speaker of the National Assembly, who within 60 days is supposed to call an election without an IEBC. That is a pure, straight constitutional crisis, and it becomes a straight political crisis.
The United States has also raised concerns through its ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, who says Kenyan democracy is now at risk. In a tweet published on the embassy's X account, the ambassador is calling for quick reconstitution after she had a meeting with the IEBC CEO Hussein Marjan Hussein. Whitman says, and I quote, IEBC's ability to support democracy in Kenya is at risk without the recruitment of commissioners or parliamentary action to provide IEBC funding for voter registration, by-election and other election activities. The United States supports Kenya democracy through USAID Kenya. During the meeting that led to the tweet, IEBC says it is still grappling with financial constraints. They posted, and I quote, the Commission is confronted with numerous challenges, including budgetary constraints that are hampering its operations. Currently, the IEBC is facing a significant delay in conducting several pending by-elections, including key constituencies like Banissa, where an MP passed away in 2023. The absence of a fully constituted commission has created a legal vacuum, making it impossible to issue the necessary gazette notices required to organize these by-elections. Despite attempts to introduce legislation allowing the IEBC Secretariat to manage by-elections in the absence of commissioners, these by-elections remain pending, affecting both parliamentary and ward seats across the country. But why has it taken so long? According to critics, the delay in filling these positions is linked to political wrangling between key players. President William Ruto called for a bipartisan approach to reconstituting the IEBC, which led to the NADCO report, whose implementation has taken its sweet time. Opposition leaders argue that the process is being deliberately stalled to serve political interests. But with political tension high following the impeachment of Gachagua and the clearance of Kindiki, the pressure to get the IEBC in place is mounting. Brian Amuai, K24, Nairobi. Right, away from that, members of the public are expected to submit their final views on the extension of term limits for the president and elected leaders tomorrow, Friday, 25th October, before the Senate's Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs amid a public uproar over the proposal. Now, this comes even as Kenyans continue to oppose that proposal, terming it retrogressive. Ian Ketani tells us more.
Friday, 25th October, and Kenyans are expected to submit their final views on the Samson Cherargei-led controversial Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2024, a bill that has elicited a heated debate in the country. The proposal, which has been undergoing public participation from 2nd October, if approved, will see term limits extended from 5 to 7 years. The proposal has, however, received backlash from Kenyans.
Si kwamba ninapinga, ninakataa completely. Kwa sababu, according to me, this is total nonsense. Kwa government kama hii. Nikasema kangaroo government.
It is a very primitive, very callous, very outdated and backward idea that all Kenyans must oppose.
Kenyans have termed the bill as retrogressive and could possibly lead to dictatorship.
We must not allow ourselves to be taken back into imperial presidency and dictatorship. Even if you increase Ruto's term limit to 100 years, there is nothing he will deliver for this country except auctioning state installations and infrastructure.
The proposal has not only been opposed by members of the public. Kiambu Senator Karungo Wathangwa has also alleged a plot to cling to power by certain individuals.
This 7-year term proposal is a grand scheme for people to retain power.
While opposing the bill, Kenyans have slammed the Kenya Kwanza administration of leasing out the country, questioning why they'd want to continue being in office despite not keeping their election pledges.
Our leaders are focusing on extending their terms and at the expense of even making our economy workable.
Kwanza shughulikia mambo ya SHA, shughulikia mambo ya wananchi, wananchi wanaumia, wacheni kutuletea miswada ambayo haitusaidii sisi kama Wakenya.
Sababu sasa health wamepatia ndani, Getrack wamepatia ndani, airport wamepatia ndani.
What have they done with the 5 years so that they're also asking for 2 more years?
The ruling party has distanced itself from the proposal. Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah through his X account yesterday, terming the bill as a waste of time. If the bill sees the light of day, it will see the creation of the position of a Prime Minister, who will be the appointee of the head of state. Kenyans have opposed the move, citing it not being a priority.
We have priorities. Creating the position of a Prime Minister is none of our priorities.
Towards 2022, they were against creating of these positions. Why do they want these positions to be created?
With tomorrow being the final day to submit views on the proposal, Kenyans have continued to oppose that particular proposal, instead slamming the Kenya Kwanza administration over failure to implement their pre-election promises. Question is, will the Senate put the views of Kenyans into consideration? Ian Keitani, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Now to matters education, Kenya's education system is facing a significant challenge as the first cohort of grade 9 students prepare to transition under the competency-based curriculum. Concerns have emerged about a shortage of classrooms despite government promises of new infrastructure. Harriet Chimea brings us the latest developments from Parliament and the Ministry of Education.
The first cohort of grade 9 students is facing an alarming reality: a critical shortage of classrooms, despite repeated assurances from the Ministry of Education that 16,000 new classrooms will be ready by January next year. This crisis was highlighted in Parliament when MPs responsible for overseeing the construction of 6,000 classrooms revealed that they were unaware of the location of the new schools.
We have agreed as members of Parliament to also put up additional classrooms, matching fund. But it has come to happen that the schools where you're putting classroom is not communicated to us. Where you are planning to put a classroom is where we are also putting a classroom. If there was that communication between the National Assembly and the Ministry of Education, we can add synergy to one another.
On communication, I want to assure members that we did a list of schools we were going to do. Maybe we did it in the wrong way because we did it to CDF office, your national CDF office, with the assumption that the CDF office will share with every member of Parliament. We shall avail to every member of Parliament the schools we are doing and we have done per county as we try to break it down to the constituency.
Amidst the recent announcement of 1 million shillings allocation per classroom, concerns are mounting about the feasibility of constructing quality standard classrooms with such a budget.
In the next 3 years, we are setting aside 3.5 billion shillings to sort out specifically Nairobi County. The county government of Nairobi has collaborated with the national government, and they are setting aside another 1.5 billion shillings towards classrooms in Nairobi, because we appreciate the challenge that is in this city. So, yes, the 1 million shillings per class may not be adequate, But by giving every constituency another 58 million shillings is a way in which we are trying to enhance how we avail classrooms.
The discussion also raised questions about the construction of the promised 16,000 classrooms, with some pointing out that none of this includes laboratories essential for comprehensive learning experience in secondary schools.
The 1,600 schools who do not have labs, by the time our kids report to senior school in January, each of our senior schools will have at least a laboratory. We are also going to do 2,000 virtual labs, so that we leverage on technology. So we are going to do another 2,000 virtual labs to support these 1,600 schools who do not have labs.
Yet again, the PS was on record that 15,000 will be issued in full as capitation to the JSS learners.
Capitation use, 4,000 of the 15,000 is supposed to be used to improve facilities in a school. Both physical facilities, which is schools where requiring sanitation facility, 4,000 of it is set aside. And that's why when we are doing these classrooms now, that 4,000 shillings will be used to get a desk.
As the new academic year approaches, the ministry has assured that guidelines for the placement of students into senior secondary schools will be released early next year. Harriet Chimea, K24.
Right, that report by Harriet Chimea takes us to a second break here on the program. We will be back with more in just a short while.
Back to the future. The future is simulate. Bet smarter. Win faster now. Be a winner. More at Bet.
Nimekuwa simridhishi mke wangu.
Maelewano ni kiungo muhimu katika mahusiano, urafiki na hata mapenzi.
Hii chai kwanza haina sukari, ni majani tu na maji, hata sijui nanywa nini.